the summer. I think he could be. So, you know, and I've been warming up to Berahino. Somebody told me today, very, very good point. He's got a lot of experience playing with Harry Kane in the under-21s. So
yes.
The question there is, where's value? And I snap him up for 10 because he is a good player. But is he worth 15?
The question is, you've got West Brom struggling, you've got Aston Villa struggling, and we've all had our eye on Berahino and Benteke.
Yeah.
I don't think either of those clubs will want to sell. Granted, Berahino hasn't hit the net, I don't know for how long now, probably 9-10 games.
Yeah, I think it is. And he's had a number of penalties too, which kind of skew his numbers.
He is screwing with my fantasy team, and I've got to get him out. He'll score the minute I take him out, but you know, I'd love to have Benteke as well, but his form has been horrendous. Granted, they're both playing in horrible teams that are going to be struggling for the balance of this season. But unfortunately, just like last year when Aston Villa was struggling and we wanted Benteke then, we didn't get him. So then he went and got himself injured, missed the World Cup, and only came back in September. But we've got to look elsewhere if we're looking for a striker. And I think again with the system that many clubs are playing now, no one wants 4 strikers. It's not healthy for the club. It's not healthy for the personnel. And we've got 3 right now, and Harry Kane seems to have cemented that spot and deservedly so. Adebayor, you know, I don't know, is he painting the changing rooms? Who knows what's happening with him? But I don't think his future's with Tottenham Hotspur FC.
No, absolutely no.
I don't think anyone's going to take on that contract. I think he's going to go out on loan. That's the only thing I can see, unless they just want to absolutely cut the cord on the contract and pay the penalty, which I don't know if they're willing to do.
Yeah. You know what the interesting overlay is in this window is that Poch's repeated comments that, you know, we've got a good squad, and he's happy with what he has. So I don't know whether that's, you know, Levy in his ear saying, look, you know, we're not going to be, you know, splashing the cash, or whether he genuinely feels that way. But also, I being a manager, I guess he's not a manager, I guess he's just a coach, but being a coach in this league is difficult. I mean, managing personnel is a very challenging thing to do, and he's getting some out of players that we probably didn't expect him to, and so maybe he feels like, just give me some time, and then we can reassess in the summer when we can really do something transformational. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't buy into that. I think there's a certain amount of I have to say this to the media because obviously I'm not going to divulge who I want and who I want to let go. You know, it's the days of Harry and his wheeler dealer antics. I know he hates that. You know, he'll give you the media that sound, but I think Poch is a little more educated when it comes to, no disrespect to Harry, but I think Poch is a little more educated when it comes to saying the right things to the media, as any manager should really do, because it's unsettling to players. It's you know, 6 yards away from tapping someone up, and we know that. You can't do that. So
and it possibly could have been part of the reason why he now does not use the translator, and because he's at a much bigger club and he's going to get asked the question a lot, he can use the language. You listen to Poch's interviews from week 1, they sound like the Poch interview from today. They are exact duplicates over and over and over again.
Yeah, he's not.
He's a broken record, and I like it. Yeah,
he's not going out there with in-depth, insightful post-match comments, because again his English is very narrow-based, and I think he's very cliched, but I know he's not like that with the players.
Yeah,
they get it, they understand exactly what he's saying, so it's a good smokescreen.
Yeah. When's the deadline? So when's it over?
It's January 1 to January 31, correct?
Depends when the 31st is. I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Okay, so it is the full month. Okay, so we've got a full month.
31st is a Wednesday. I'm sorry, that's December.
All right, so we'll spend more time on this in the weeks to come.
Yeah, but I do want to touch on it today.
Yeah,
I kind of asked the guy. Let's kind of touch on this today. 2 ins, 2 outs. If it goes a little beyond that with you, that's fine. I can think of a wad of people I wouldn't mind getting rid of right now, to be honest with you. But let's try to keep it educated, and maybe we can even say 2 players that can make an impact right now, and maybe a youth player that's out there if you want to go that route.
All right.
I'll just leave it open.
All right,
Sam,
I'll try
my friend,
I'll try and attack this from the perspective of trying to be reasonable as opposed to just picking the greatest Christmas present ever, right?
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. That's not fun.
No, I would.
I want you to get me in the top 4, bro.
We're probably. I'm okay with not necessarily the players that I want, but I would be very comfortable with either a Schneiderlin or a Lars Bender, and a Berahino. Those are probably I would come away from this window saying. Well, and I'll say those 3, or a combination of those 3, with at least an attempt on Benteke. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. And your outs?
Oh, wow, there's 7 players. That's the easy part. Paulinho's gone. I actually think there's some Brazilian club that's going to be mad enough to pay $8 million or more for him. Vlad's worth 8, Townsend's worth 5 to 8. So, between those 3, you've got 24 million, somewhere 24 million in players to get rid of. So that probably finances a Lars Bender. It comes close to financing all of a Schneiderlin, and then your net spending on a striker.
And of course, the price for Schneiderlin goes up the longer Southampton stay tangible in the league.
Yeah, and I feel like that we're going to be in a bidding war with Arsenal. You just don't know what's true, right? The Mail and the Mirror, and everybody's reporting that, But he's got to feel pretty foolish, right? Southampton's playing great football. They stand just as good of a chance of being top 4 as Arsenal.
And isn't it just interesting how he got red carded today and they play Arsenal in the next match? Just saying.
Did? Oh, he did get red carded.
He got red carded, 2 yellows. Yeah.
2 yellows.
How's he been playing?
I think he's been playing just fine from what I've seen. The matches I see, he controls the center of the field.
Yeah.
He controls the center of that pitch.
Southampton hit that rough patch, and they've still got to play a bunch of those teams that they didn't do so well against. They had a soft schedule, and we were one of the only teams that had beaten them up until they played some of the other teams in the top 4, and they didn't acquit themselves well. And I think they're going to get turned over in their next game. Is it Arsenal? Right? You just said Arsenal.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
At home too. I think that's outside.
Yeah, I'd actually love them to do Arsenal. Yeah. They really, really were under the cosh against Chelsea today. It was almost a flip-flop of our game. They did well in the first half and just were under the gun in the second. Whereas obviously, we did the reverse against United. But I fear for them against Arsenal, unfortunately. I'd love that to not be true, because Arsenal, quietly going about their business, picking up points, and that's something we don't like.
I agree. I totally agree.
Chairman Dottie, your pick.
So, having had my hopes and dreams dashed over the last 42 years of wants and needs, my wish list is very, very long, but the realist in me says, the current state of ENIC and what they want to buy versus what we want to buy never really meshes. Every now and then they'll throw a surprise out there. I think the last surprise we had was Van der Vaart, correct?
Yes.
That was a coup.
That was a brilliant piece of business.
And we need another coup. I really think that's what the fans deserve. We've gone out and bought some fringe guys that we think would be good and have inevitably disappointed. And when you got people like Ryan Mason, Bentaleb, and Harry Kane doing much better than some of these guys that we've splashed out millions upon, I really don't know who's going to come in and be able to gel with this team and make a difference. So I'm going to abstain from picking from 2 likes and wants, but like Sam, I could probably think of a half dozen players that probably need to leave the club. My heart says that some should stay, but my head says they probably should go away. And unfortunately, one of those is Lennon. He's not been informed the last few years, to be honest. I know whenever he scores, we never lose, which is great. But if he doesn't get on the pitch, then we don't have that option to see what he can do. Kirikesh. I think he makes us all nervous when he's out there on the pitch because you just don't know what he's going to do.
Right. Although today, to our surprise, he was quite serviceable.
He was, and is he a better right back than he is a centre back? I don't know.
I think he's just better.
A couple of times.
He's just better at Roma.
Yeah.
He's just better from
Townsend, he had another opportunity, and other than a couple of glimpses today, he really didn't impress. And I like the lad, but I'm just not sure if he's got a long-term future with the club.
But he's young and fast and marketable.
He is, and I think he loves Tottenham, and he'd love to have the opportunity to continue. So, Adebayor, I'll pack his bags. Paulinho, love the guy, I think he's great, but I just don't think it's worked out for him.
I don't think he's adjusted to London. In England in general.
It probably didn't help that Gomes buggered off, and
right.
You know what, we did
and
the right
Sandra,
thing. So, but he did struggle last season. He had some flashes of brilliance, and then he had some moments where he just went invisible for a game, and that's kind of sad. So, I'm disappointed that Dyer started off the season and he just flamed out very, very quickly, and he's just warming the bench right now.
But he's 20. There's a lot left there.
Yeah. So but I've heard the rumours that he might be farmed off, which is kind of crazy when we just signed him. So my last point on this, and then we'll carry on. We talked about this in the pub today. What happens when Yedlin comes? I mean, he's there Thursday. Yep. He can be in the stands watching the game. He's probably training by the club. He's been cleared. He's got his visa. He's good to go. Does he go out on loan, as we discussed today at the pub, to a championship side for the rest of the season, or does he give us the cover that we need, and maybe he gets a run out in an FA Cup game? I mean, those games now, they all have meaning. There's no Europa League group stages where you can put some fringe players in to give them some experience. Every game now means something because it's knockout time.
Kenny, I'm dying to know what you feel about this.
Okay, this is what I feel about this. All right, the outs, I can't disagree with anything that you guys have said. Adebayor, again, I'd pack his bags for him. The Dyer, I would fly to London and pack that dude's bags and then look at him and never mind. Naughton to me is the interesting one. If Dyer really is somebody that the club is instantly thinking about offloading, it's because of profit. We picked him up for $4 million. If somebody thinks he's worth twice that, do we sell him now at 20? And take that $4 million and reinvest it into another player that we may actually need? I'm sorry. I like Dyer, and I think that he is a much better center back and has not even had a chance to prove himself in that role yet. I don't know if he's playing in these under 21 matches, but he needs to be, and he needs to be doing it at right center back. So Dyer to me is an interesting one. When I look up and down the roster, aside from the current strike force, and Kane obviously aside, it is a very young squad that's starting. 21, 20, 21, 22, 23, 22, and then when you get to the back, you have Vertonghen, who I believe is 27, and he's surrounded by youth in Walker, Rose, Davis, and the rest. I think when I look at the squad, the one thing that we said in the off-season in the summer was we need to bring somebody in who can assume the captain's role because Michael Dawson is not going to be there. And we went out and we bought Stambouli, who was either captain or co-captain, and we brought in Sevilla's captain in Federico Fazio. And maybe one day he becomes that. But there is no better captain, for as much as I hate having a goalkeeper be your captain, than Lloris. I think that the players look at him because he is, right now, the only world-class player on the team. Eriksen is great. Lamela has his flashes. Kane is one for the future. And the rest are the pieces that make this thing work. And I think the point that I'm trying to make is I think that they stay young. I don't think that they need to go out and get some super veteran to help them get to the next step. I think that they are willing to let this thing be built through the youth system that we have and interject some youth that is tangible, it can contribute, is strong, is skillful, and unfortunately I don't think it's going to come from England. One of the kind of knocks I think on the way that we do business, or Tottenham does business, is that they don't get the players that are already here in England, and they bring these guys in and either they can't adjust or they just don't make it for whatever reason. But I think if you stay within Europe, that you